Alright, the Los Angeles Lakers have been eliminated from the playoffs by the Phoenix Suns in 6 games. And Devin Booker was just phenomenal tonight. 47 points. I believe he had 18 in the first quarter. And he finished, the half with 33 points. The Lakers were already down big to start this game. So they had to, spend the rest of the game trying to claw their way back into it. Yeah, they made it close at times. They cut it down to 10, 12, 15. But when you go down by so much to start the game off, when you're down like 27 points, in the first half, it's an uphill battle, and you're just not going to win many games like that. You're not going to win, any games like that, especially when you got guys that are clearly hampered by injuries, and you got role players that just simply cannot shoot the basketball because Lakers were god awful this entire series from three. LeBron James was their best shooter. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and Dennis Schroeder, they showed up tonight, but too little, too late, because you needed those, showings and efforts, in those other games that they could have won and that they lost, like Game 1, like Game 4, and like Game 5. But they didn't show it there, and yeah, there's been a lot of drama surrounding Dennis Schroeder lately when it comes to his Instagram bio, him taking a point guard for Los Angeles Lakers out, getting bullied on Twitter, and then he puts it back in, but then after they lose the game, he takes it out again, so he's clearly checked out. Even though he's been quoted to say he wants to stay and work in the offseason, help the Lakers win the championship, I honestly don't care. He's shown that he doesn't care about winning or is committed about winning enough because he did miss games twice due to COVID protocol. And I get him missing it once, but you missing it twice, no, it's just a lack of diligence and caring about winning. Also about his own bag as well, because that clearly would affect, him getting paid. Thankfully, he turned down that extension that the Lakers offered of 4 years, $84 million, because that would be looking so damn bad right now. But yeah, I hope he leaves because he got exposed in the playoffs, and he did start a little of the season. He started the season rocky with saying he wanted to be the starting point guard like LeBron James is on the team. But that's Dennis Schroeder. Played a decent game tonight, but too little too late, and I can say it's fucking garbage time anyway. Andre Drummond did not play tonight, so not surprising, but it's whatever. They did trot out Anthony Davis for the first 5 minutes. Clearly his movement was compromised because he just came off a groin injury from a couple of days ago. I don't know how we got cleared from the medical staff. Yeah, that they was on bullshit, and that doesn't look good the way they cleared him and how he just didn't look good to play at all. It doesn't surprise me though, and he's gonna get a lot of criticisms for being soft and fragile. But it comes with territory, and he's acknowledged that, and he's gotta do better. When it comes to taking care of his body, maybe he's gotta work on his lower body, build up that base. I don't know. He takes a lot of awkward falls throughout the year, and what the Lakers also have to do, they have to focus on getting a quality center that can soak up minutes at the 5 just to preserve Anthony Davis and preserve his health. They also should look into load managing LeBron James and Anthony Davis next year because you need them healthy, because this team clearly relies on them a bit too much to win, and the role players aren't good enough when it comes to shooting basketball because they shot like 17% on open threes this series, and again LeBron James is their best 3-point shooter, which isn't conducive for winning games. When it comes to Montrezl Harrell, he's getting garbage time minutes and DNPs in the playoffs, and they wasted that mid-level exception on him, so that's just a bad signing flat out. Marc Gasol and Wesley Matthews, those weren't signings I weren't high on to start with because I just said that those guys were old, and it showed, and they also just didn't do their jobs good enough to be worth it. You expect those guys to space out the floor, but Wesley Matthews has a terrible series from 3, and Marc Gasol can't play any defense because he's getting constantly cooked in the pick and roll by other teams' guards. So there's that on those signings. Just hopefully those guys both retire because they're just not good. You just can't bring them back for next year. When it comes to guys like Andre Drummond and Ben McLemore, they're decent signings in the buyout market, but it's still the buyout market for a reason, and they're not the best players out there because they're in the buyout market. I don't know what the Lakers promised Andre Drummond because I felt like he was getting a lot of playing time that he shouldn't have been getting. But hopefully they work it out. He's just not here next season because he's just simply not good enough. When it comes to free agents, the Lakers should honestly pursue. They got to go after guys like Gary Trent Jr., Duncan Robinson, and Norman Powell. When it comes to getting a quality big to soak up minutes at the 5, I think Jared Allen would be a good start. But when it comes to everyone else on this roster that's not named LeBron James, Anthony Davis, I wouldn't mind them going. But when it comes to like people I like to see on the roster, at least next year, I like to see Caruso and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope stay on the roster because they do provide valuable defense. You know, they do their roles, you know, as role players as well. Somebody comes shooting the ball. And I think that's all I got. I know the cap space is a mess for the Lakers, so I don't know what they're gonna do. They gotta do something because obviously the way this roster is constructed is not it, and it is a bit too top heavy. Because even with LeBron James, Anthony Davis healthy, they still struggle, you know, when it comes to offense at times for having a lot of scoring droughts, and they just gotta do a better job getting, you know, a different assistant. I don't think Frank Vogel should be fired. I mean, he did win a championship last year, and this team was still very good on defense. But yeah, they gotta get a new offensive assistant because whatever they're doing, it's just not working. They have way too many 2 to 3, 4 minute scoring droughts. And you having scoring droughts like that, it's not going to help you win the playoffs, let alone just win games in general. But I think that's really all I got. Disappointing and tough season, short turnaround from the bubble, but maybe the team just needs to get a full offseason to rest, they rehab, refocus, and they reload for next season. And then their primary focus in free agency, they got to get some people that can shoot the ball. They got to get guys that can be shot creators, and they have to get a big that can take up minutes from the 5 just to preserve Anthony Davis's health because it's important. Last but not least, LeBron James is no longer, you know, the undisputed best player in the world. He wasn't a top 5 player in these playoffs, and he only had 29 as a scoring count in the playoffs this year. But he's still a good player, and he just needs rest and recovery. We'll see how he does next year. I believe he'll bounce back. But yeah, disappointing, tough season. With that out the way, y'all stay safe, and I'm out.